Okay, hi Year 11. Here we go with changing hectares to square metres to square centimetres. Now to help you with this conversion, I draw a little diagram. Now if we know we have a 1 metre by 1 metre square, how do we convert that to centimetres squared? Well, what we do is we basically tell ourselves, all right, well, how many centimetres are in a metre? So hopefully you know there are 100 centimetres in a metre. So that means if I've got this side being 1 metre, that's the same as 100 centimetres. And if I've got this side being 1 metre, that's the same as 100 centimetres. So to find the area of that box, we would go 100 times 100. And 100 times 100, hopefully you realise is 4 zeros makes 10,000. So to convert square centimetres to square metres, we get 10,000. So we have to watch out for this. So another way of doing that, just in case you're not sure, is you could say to yourself, how do I change millimetres to centimetres? Well, first of all, hopefully you remember that you divide, right? Then the next thing you'd say to yourself, well, how many millimetres are in a centimetre? Hopefully then you would say 10. Okay, but you've got to remember in area, we always do that squared bit. So if you then square that, what is 100 squared? What is 10 squared? So hopefully you realise 10 squared is 100. So that's where they're getting the 100 from. Over here, you can see what's on the top, or you could use my little analogy. You could say to yourself, okay, I'm dividing because I'm going from a smaller unit to a bigger unit. How many centimetres are in a metre? Well, normally there's 100. But because we're squaring, then that means I have to divide by 100 squared. And what's 100 squared? Well, 100 times 100 is 10,000. Okay? So that's how they also get this one here. Square metres to a hectare, that's a little bit different because a hectare is not our usual measurement, is it? Okay? So that's why that one's a bit different. All right. So there's our diagram, our conversion diagram. Let's have a go at these questions and follow our diagram. So the first one is 2.6 hectares. Now I know there's 10,000 square metres in 1 hectare. So for that one I have to times by 10,000. So either use your calculator or move it. There are 4 zeros in 10,000. So move the decimal point 4 spaces. So that gives me 2.6. I've got 3 jumps there with nothing under there. So I'm going to put 3 zeros up. Next one, B, metre squared to centimetre squared. So metre squared is in the middle to centimetre squared. I am timesing by 10,000 again. Or if you like, you can times by 100 squared on your calculator. I'll leave that up to you. So that means I'm moving 1, 2, 3, 4 places because there's 4 zeros. So that gives me an answer of 4, 9, and then 3 zeros for those 3 spaces. Next one, C, 14 centimetres squared to millimetre squared. You can pause this at any time and have a go before me. Centimetre squared to millimetre squared is timesing by 100. So that means I'm going to jump that one, 2 spaces that way. So that's actually going to get me 1,400 millimetres squared. So you have to watch out. You make sure that you don't accidentally divide or times only by the length unit change. You've got to divide or times by the length unit change squared. All right, so 7.752 metres squared to centimetres squared. That means I'm going to follow the top and I'm actually going to times by 10,000, or if you wish, 100 squared, because there's 100 centimetres in a metre, if that helps you. There we go. So there's 4 zeros in 10,000. So I'm going to jump 1, 2, 3, 4. So that gets me an answer of 752, and I'm going to put a 0 on the end. Okay, next one. Basic conversion for volume. All right, so volume is the same as what we just did for area. So if you know the length change, then all you have to do, for example, how many centimetres are in a metre? Okay, so you could have just gone, right, there are 100 centimetres in a metre, but because I'm cubing, then I have to do by 100 cubed. That's 100 times 100 times 100. How many zeros do I have in 100 times 100 times 100? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you'll notice up here, I have 6 zeros up there. So to change volume units from meters to centimeters, we actually multiply it by the length change, 100, but we cube it, okay? Just in case you're wondering where those big numbers come from. So centimeters to millimeters, if you ask yourself how many millimeters are in a centimeter, you might say, well, there are 10. But because we are cubing it again, we're going to go by 10 cubed. And that's how I get 1,000. 10 times 10 times 10. So if I'm going in the opposite way, hopefully you realise you're just going to divide by 10 to the power of 3 or 1,000. So over here, do the opposite, divide by 1,000,000 or 100 cubed, okay? Either should get you the right answer. Whatever you do, don't divide by 100. That's not correct. So converting centimetres, 5 centimetre cubed to millimetres cubed, if I follow the jump, start at centimetres, go to millimetres, I'm going to times by 1,000. So that gets me 5,000. And over here, 3.9 meters cubed to centimetres cubed, I'm again going to times by 1,000,000 this time. So yes, don't expect little answers, you're going to get big ones. So if I jump that once, that means I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 jumps in total I need to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6. So that means I have to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. So after the 3 and the 9, I have to put 5 zeros. Okay, so there you go. There's my answer. All right, and one more. Okay, here we have 23. Catchment area of a dam is 25.6 kilometres squared. If 25 millimetres of rain falls over the catchment area, what will be the increase in capacity of the dam given that 1 metre cubed holds 1,000 kilolitres? Catchment area of a dam is that much, so we've got the area, and we want to know how much the capacity of the dam will increase by. So this is kind of a volume question. So I'm going to try this, hopefully I get it right. So volume, if you remember,